Well, this is the most animated I've ever seen these players be.
Look,
Also,
I know we're not. I know we didn't have as much fun as Nightmare and stuff, but it was really chill vibes. We had chill vibes in the room. It was down to earth. It was nice. We had a chat with the players.
smiling. I can't even recall ever seeing Kai smiling. So
That was
I
great.
feel like a winner. Just
We had a great
watching
time.
this.
That's the most animated I've ever seen Kevster, but
Is
the bar
that
is
right?
down here, guys. Like
They're usually just locked
This
in.
is ENCE, you know? Like they're here, they're chill. They're, they're chill if they win the whole thing. They're chill.
They were chill, but I also felt done dirty by the video editor because we actually talked about banana curry pizza as well, and
Wait,
they just
what?
completely cut that out. So
Say that one more
What?
time.
Say
that one more time.
We
You talked
discussed
about what?
the prospect of a Swedish banana curry pizza. And so, we talked about it, and I said that there would be a few fans in the crowd who actually like banana pizza.
That's not a thing.
No, it is a thing. It is a thing.
not.
Banana curry pizza.
Yeah, it's totally a thing in Sweden. And so, we had a conversation about it, with the ENCE guys, but the video editor cut that out, probably because they didn't believe me in the first place.
I don't believe you.
So, but,
I
we
don't
did
wanna
have an
believe
epic conversation about that. So maybe, they'll make a hypercut and, get that out for social or something. But yeah, it was good times to chat with ENCE. We had really chill vibes. It was nice.
I'm just still off put by everything.
Banana curry pizza,
Yeah, this is not okay. We do
Can't
need to have a
process.
chat
We got
about that,
fika. Maybe
Sweden.
we can get a... No,
I'm
let's
on
get a
board with
kebab
the
pizza
fika.
instead.
You lost us on that one. Let's take a look at our predictions here as we're just smoothly moving on from whatever you thought you just invented there. Okay, 68% there for Toronto Defiant. They are the favorite heading into this, but ENCE, they have a lot of great pieces to work with. I'm going to be very interested to see what they bring to the table today. Again, we haven't seen both teams play in a hot minute as well, so they might have been cooking something up that isn't said pizza.
I mean, look, yeah, I mean, I'm not cooking up that anyway. I'm not a fan. I'm just disclosing, like, I'm not a banana pizza fan,
Okay.
but there are fans of such pizza, especially in Sweden. But yeah, I think this is going to be really interesting to see what compositions we're going to see, especially from Toronto Defiant, because I feel like throughout the year, we've seen Toronto Defiant, they're happy to play the meta. They're happy to play the meta, but they're also happy to play Winston and put RuPaul on Diana, where they can, for example, and not even just completely flexing over their composition. They even like changing up just one hero, just to get a slight advantage over your opponent. And especially, I think we saw earlier today, Fielder, for example, swapped over to the Baptiste to kind of try to adjust to Labdasfara, for example. That is something I could see Toronto Defiant doing, because they have two really flexible support players who are really mechanically skilled. And if they face a composition and they say, nah, we don't really feel like we need the Brig here, have a hard time maybe like getting the Inspire healing up, we could see them flex over to like, a different kind of flex support hero, like an Ilari or a Kiriko, or like whatever they kind of need to like shut down and get a small advantage over the enemy team. That is what makes Toronto Defiant so exciting for me, and why I think they're such a great team.
Do you know what could give them the advantage? I'll tell you, Neon Streets bundle. That could do it for
Wow.
It will definitely do it for you. So make sure to grab yours at home. You will contribute to the prize pool of this beautiful competition here as well if you do so. And all of that will be available until December 3rd. So grab yours now. I just love everything we're seeing on our screen right here.
What is your favorite?
Tracer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
I like Tracer too, actually.
Shocker.
I think like her leggings with the graffiti paint, it's like kind of stylish.
It's
I'm sticking with the
shoes for
Junkrat.
me.
I'm sticking with the Junkrat. And I repeatedly said that I don't know why, but Junkrat just reminds me of Ken Barbie. It's like the colors,
It
you
is
know
like
that
the colors,
you know that
yeah.
Ken Barbie meme? You know the meme?
Which one?
Well, there's some memes, and
Not the meme.
I haven't
You
even
sound like
watched
a
the
boomer.
movie. But there's something about the look. There's
No,
something
you
about the
haven't
look
watched
from
the movie?
Do you
Junkrat.
look like Ryan Gosling to you? Is that?
Yeah, like, well, no.
Junkrat and Ryan
That's
are
a bit of a
the same
stretch.
people.
But there was something about the angle. It was a good angle for Junkrat with those colors. That's all I'm
Even
saying.
Junkrat
He's got a
has good
leading
angles.
man's chin.
Someone at home understands me, okay? Just do
I'm
like
sure.
a side-by-side comparison. You'll see what I mean.
Okay,
Trust
well, you
me.
know what? We'll give you some time to do that. What's good, friends, and welcome back once again. We are getting ready and set up for our last upper bracket quarterfinal match. This one will be fought out between Toronto Defiant and ENCE. Two teams who have been on top of their respective regions pretty much all season long. And now they get to battle it out. One team will be dropping down to that lower bracket. That was a face card if I've ever seen one.
I'm loving these player shots.
I love these player shots. I love all the media assets we have. Welcome back, everyone, to the desk. Zoe here, Jake and Johnny joining me. And we have been busy talking about the teams, which is obviously a lot of fun. But there's so much more to explore here at DreamHack. Because we're at DreamHack, Johnny.
Yeah, we are.
Back in the motherland,
It's like
back
the
at
real
DreamHack.
thing. Like
It's
this
the
entire
real one.
hall
Yeah.
is just, I know, like for the people watching, you might think it's just a desk and then there's a stage.
It's so
then
much
people
more.
play video games. But like behind the camera, we really should have like Danny go like behind the scenes or something. But there's like an entire hall of like activities and things to do and like things to experience, Jake. There's so much to experience.
It's a festival of gaming.
Wow, you described it so eloquently. Great job, Jake.
You know what? You want Danny? I give you Danny.
Danny?
I can do better than that. I'm not just gonna give you Danny. I'll give you J3 and Danny.
Yeah, we're here. How'd you know? Thank you, Zoe, Johnny as well. There's a lot to see, but hey, the most important thing is I'm here with J3, my favorite streamer. How are you doing? How are you doing in Stockholm? Are you enjoying it?
I'm doing fantastic. It's cold.
It's cold, right? I mean, inside is not that bad.
No, it's definitely not.
No, it's kind of cold. No?
Nah, I'm from Miami, man. Anything's cold in Miami.
True, I'm from LA. It does get kind of chilly, but hey, inside it's. I feel like it's the gate. I guess the matches are heating up. I mean, the next match is gonna be a banger. It's gonna be Toronto Defiant versus ENCE. JT, who do you think is gonna win?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Toronto.
Good call. Any reason?
No.
No? Simple. Me too. I'm rooting for Toronto. Why? I don't know either. Hey, another big thing is you're going to be on this show match that's going to be happening later on today. Are you excited for that?
Yes, sir. I don't know if I'm with you or against you, but it's going to be fun.
If I'm on your opposing team, throw for me so that I look better.
I don't have any of my peripherals. I'm going to be horrible.
Nice. All right. Thank you, J3, for the interview. All right, I guess this is it. Have fun in Stockholm. Desk, back to you.
Well, that was an interview of all time. Thank you so much, Danny and J3. J3, we can quote that one. It's cold, he said, in a t-shirt at wintertime in Sweden.
What did he expect? Did you look at
Jacket?
the J3, did you look at the weather report going into the event? Did you know what was actually coming? Okay,
yeah.
no, he's trying to talk to us.
Yeah, well.
Dude, look at the weather report. Okay, you're traveling to Sweden. I don't know what you expected. We're not in the southern hemisphere. Come on, man.
Hey, he didn't come here for the weather. He came here to witness greatness, and that's about to happen on this very stage. So once again, let's toss it over to our favorite human being walking planet Earth to bring out our teams.
Thank you so much, Zoe. You know, I would say it may be cold out there, but it's heating up inside of this building. Isn't that right, DreamHack? Let's try it again. Isn't that right, DreamHack? I like the energy. I like these people. They're lovely. All right, well, let's go ahead and bring out your two teams. It's a classic NAU clash yet again. And let's go ahead and bring out the hope of NA. It's the Toronto Defiant!
The Kings of North America winning all 4 stages in their region. They coming to Stockholm with their aim on the trophy, lifting it Sunday. So stacked on every single role, capable of flexing over to so many different compositions. What will we see from Toronto Defiant to kick off their journey at OWCS Stockholm?
And their opponents represent the EMEA region. It's
Hometown heroes in ENCE. Kevster, one of the best Swedish players in the world. One of the best players, period. Bringing the absolute heat to start off for this lineup. Still, they're going to have a tough test in taking down the Kings of North America. Can ENCE be the standard bearers for EMEA?
Now, before we get into the matchup, I would like Sugar Free as well as Kevstar to come up to the stage, if you guys don't mind. Sugar Free, Kevstar, come on, let's go. Avanza, you know we want to schedule over here. Chop, chop. Because we're going to do something a little special here. You know, throughout the year, we like to really just praise and cherish the players who bring it and always give their absolute best. That is why we're very proud to announce that your role MVP for the NA region is Sugar Free. And your role MVP for the EMEA region, it's Kevster! Guys, once again, give it up for these hard-working players. They're about to take the stage, fellas. Congratulations on an incredible season. Of course, I don't want to hold you up any longer, so go back with your teams. Guys, give it up one more time for your role MVPs for NA and EU, Kevster and Sugar Free. And let's go ahead and get ready and send it over to your casters, who definitely are going to need some water, because these guys have been commentating nonstop. It's, of course, Uber and Mr. X.
Thank you, Golden Boy. Yeah, say that for after. We've got one more banger ahead of us still. The last of our first two games here. And an important one again as we continue to take the temperature of this transatlantic clash. It's going to be ENCE who looked a little bit more shaky, I think, in the Stage 4 main event. But the Toronto Defiant also had their fair share of stumbles in NA.
It was like Toronto's most difficult stage within North America, right? Was Stage 4. A little bit of a different meta now, right? But this team also with a decent amount of pressure, right? Like they were created for this moment to win this event, right? Throughout the year. It was one thing for them to kind of take over NA. It felt like that was just kind of inevitable, right? But for them to win it all, I mean, that's really what it's about.
But internationally, this Toronto Defiant team have actually struggled at times to find that level of success. And in fact, it was ENCE that knocked them out of the Dallas Major in the lower bracket in a 3-1 loss. So not only are they here looking for revenge, they're looking to once again put NA back on the Overwatch map.
Yeah, and it's awesome that we obviously have that announcement with for Kevster and Sugar Free, and we also get that matchup. I mean, Kevster has been throughout the history of Overwatch like just a tremendous DPS player, right? Can play just about everything. And really this year for Toronto, like Sugar Free, it is like, Lenny time, like for real. Like it's been Lenny time the whole time.
I mean, we saw him come into that late stage of the Overwatch League on that Vancouver Titans team and look really impressive as like a young player, but now he has taken it to another level entirely.
You remember those Vancouver Titans teams? So, I mean, you look impressive there. You look impressive anyway.
I'll never forget the breadsticks, don't worry about it. But out here though, he's eating good. On this team, Toronto, like they do favor that sort of slower style, but of course you've got someone at the tank role who really can't be beat. You've got an incredible backline. This team with the Juno meta looked a little shakier. They've actually put RuPaul now on Juno duties. So he's the Juno player. They've made that switch up here and they felt much more comfortable with, RuPaul leading the way. But let's look across the stage. Let's rehash this Kevster discussion because talk about a DPS player that in any meta can find success. There's been rotations at ENCE, but it's always been Kevster in there, crucially at flex DPS, projectile, he does it all.
And it also feels like he never has like a poor game, right? He always is like pretty consistent all throughout, always being able to pick up whatever it needs to be in terms of the meta, right? We've seen him play, heroes like Genji, Mei, Echo, right, Pharah in the past. I mean, just a tremendous overall player. I feel like really kind of found his footing with this team this year.
His ceiling is so high, and he's very consistent, but it often is a question for this team of how close to that ceiling can he get on a particular game. It's worth pointing out that Kai now moves into, jump in on that Reaper role. Normally like a more conventional hit scan player, and that's definitely where we've seen him show his best. He comes in here, but back in 2019, Kai was playing a bunch of Reaper, right? And really was very familiar in that kind of metagame, in that kind of style. So I also want to mention that Chase Torch can't be here. So this is another international event where ENCE just have Vistola here. Again, I think it's a better matter for Vistola, right? Chase is definitely the Winston player they look to. But this is a team that doesn't have a coach either.
Yeah.
So all of these factors make ENCE a really unique and interesting team. And if you ask them, they don't feel like not having a coach has let them down. But this is a macro metagame.
But they know what they want to play, right? This team has a great idea of the maps they want to select. I think obviously coaches help in a lot of different situations, but potentially they don't feel like they need it.
Here we go, folks. Another NA versus EU clash. It's the Toronto Defiant versus ENCE. A little bit slower in the main event, Stage 4 were ENCE as they found they struggled to overcome that SSG roster who really hit their stride at the right time. But it's a new meta game, it's a new stage, folks. And we're headed over to Ilios to start this series off. The Toronto Defiant can't just settle for domestic dominance, Matt. Like you mentioned, they are purpose-built to win the OWCS.
Yeah, bad day for EMEA.
It's been rough now, I think of it. So far, Twisted Mind's been their strongest showing.
Yeah, which I don't think anybody kind of predicted. We do have a little bit of a pause here, so we'll figure that out, get right back in the game. Looks like everybody's okay with their chairs. The chairs have been like the biggest
chairs,
thing.
Man.
Chairs, so picky with the chairs. But we'll jump right back into this one once everything gets sorted. But yeah, you figure like, EMEA, right? This type of style would have suited them the best. It seems like everybody else, right? Boot camping, a lot of the teams coming here to Europe and boot camping, it's definitely helped them catch up maybe a little bit.
So despite this Toronto Defiant team saying that they had some struggles in Stage 4, especially with the metagame, we're still looking pretty closely at them to see if they can sort of find this level of success now. Obviously, Vega moving off that Juno role. Do we actually get this? We might, on Ilios, this is the kind of map where you can get away with this. This is a classically, I think, like APAC style with the Ana, Brig, and Winston set up here for Toronto.
And you also wonder, like, obviously these teams have been scrimming one another. No, maybe not these two specific teams, right? But kind of scrimming throughout the pool. And teams, you know, tell each other things in terms of scrims, right? So if you know that ENCE with Pistolian, like, they don't really want to play maybe the Maga as much, and they're okay playing some of that D.Va, that allows Toronto to play this.
Okay, this is specifically the kind of map where you can play these dive styles here, but God, Toronto in this lineup looks so good. Merit gets to play hit scan and not the Reaper. Sugar Free on the Tracer, someone on the Winston. But this is definitely something that suits ENCE well. Sky Reaper's an incredible Ana player. Kai gets to play that hit scan. Both teams really want to get off to a hot start.
Yeah, and it's really just, can you keep the supports here for ENCE alive with the pressure that someone in Sugar Free are going to put down?
Well, here comes someone, comes knocking. Kai definitely has to abscond from the high ground here and play around that defensive zone of Vistola, but Bionade connects onto Kellex. ENCE need to be careful. Cheeky Bubble will deflect that dynamite from Kai, and Vistola's desuited already.
Yes, you see where Sky is. It's not really like a line of sight for him at some point to keep Vistola alive. Just going to work his way back towards the Mega. Not able to do so. So you lose Sky here. Vistola jumps off the side. It's a full reset here for ENCE.
And internationally, Toronto Defiant have not lived up to their reputation in NA. They had a really disappointing showing. As the top NA team, they didn't even make it the furthest in Dallas.
I also think it's a wake-up call, them losing a little bit in North America, right? It's like, hey, we got to get things in order because you know, some of the other NA teams are catching up. I mean, we're in a rough spot.
Nightmare pushed them all the way. We talked about that already. That is a real Zoomer team, right? That have pushed these veterans to the limit in the past, but it's forged them into a team that now internationally can hope to make a deeper run. The neutral game for Toronto has been very good here, Matt. Good bios coming in from RuPaul. And here's a nano for someone. He's looking to get his feet wet a little bit. ENCE drop off the high ground. Vistola got nano elsewhere, and Merrick gets brought down by Kevster, but Sugar Free drags Kai off his horse. So that's both Ashes now out of the picture. No more long-range hit scan.
And Vistola's kind of chasing RuPaul, but he's able to stay alive. Nice pulse bomb there. Takes out Sky. Kellex able to live on through it, not even having to use the recall after getting hit by the bio. Sugar Free doing a great job holding on to that. They'll keep this point.
Yeah, self-destruct here being thrown down by Vistola. He just wants a remake here, but Kellex has gone down. Sugar Free largely uncontested here, as Kevster doesn't really have the wherewithal to put some pressure on this Tracer. The Toronto Defiant are getting exactly the game they want.
And also, Tracer historically has always been pretty strong against Deco, right? So even just trying to play this into it, it's going to be actually a dupe here from Kevster. They get Vegas, so they probably feel that this is like a big enough kill that maybe they can kind of capitalize or at least gain some type of map control.
Kevster in a familiar pair of shoes here and gets a dupe stick under RuPaul. That's the Ana down, but ENCE still have a lot of work to do.
Primal.
This is going to keep the backline of ENCE at bay for now. Kevster's able to find Merit. That's another one off the Echo. Someone slept here. Bubble thrown up, but Vistola steps inside of it. Gets good damage, and somehow Toronto have kept someone alive. RuPaul's working towards another nano. Over the space of 3 fights, he'll have 2.
Focusing team goes for nuts. A nice sleep here that connects from RuPaul. The bio grenade doesn't hit though.
He's low. The rally can't keep him in his mech. Kellex tries to pop that ultimate, but it just comes a little bit too late. And now Toronto, they've got everything they need to swoop back in and claim the point and maybe take the round.
Yeah, this is looking pretty rough now for ENCE. But Kellex does come up with one, but it's definitely not going to be enough. It's going to be the Defiant getting back towards that point. 95%, so you're still going to probably have a last-ditch effort here for ENCE as Kevster switches over to Tracer.
Yeah, nano, I guess, for Vistola here is an option. It's probably the only one for ENCE that rings with any chance of success. Kellex is going to be forced out of the fight here. Someone's zoning most of ENCE back inside this mega room right now, and Sky takes a big headshot, has to throw that Bionade at his own feet to keep himself healed up. Merit and Kai both go down. It's a trade here of Ash players again, and here's that nano for Vistola. Looking for the backline, looking to pressure over towards Vega, but gives up the fight. Instead, wants to deal with someone now who's out in the open and gives up the point, and still have a foothold in this round.
Yeah, someone takes a ton of damage, so he has to escape to the high ground, but Vega doing a tremendous job keeping RuPaul alive.
Self-destruct here. Toronto have to play out of line of sight for now, but they've gotten Vistola back into mech, have ENCE. The Diva's still going to be a factor, and Kai finds Sugar Free. What a big headshot to bring the Tracer down. Someone trying to control this space here, but Toronto don't have everyone in position to play for the point yet.
Yeah, you're getting very close to Primal though, right? So you can like almost cycle the Primal into a Nano. You're going to have a Bob here as well. So Toronto amassing a good set of ultimates here. But ENCE doing a tremendous job staying in this.
Yeah, brick by brick, they have clawed their way back into this game. Someone here looks to try and peel a little bit as Kevster starts to posture aggressively towards the backline now. Someone throwing a bubble down on the point, but there's a pulse bomb available here for Kevster in just a moment. Kellex under some duress here. Kevster looking for the optimal target, but they can't keep the Brig alive. Vega just definitely steps back from that pulse bomb, and now the Primal's in play. Sugar-Free finds a great connection on the Sky Reaper, and that, folks, should wrap it up here for our first round. Bob finishes the job, and Toronto squeak through.
I mean, look, it's a Toronto Defiant map win, but I'm pretty impressed with how ENCE kind of battled back into that one, right? They get up to almost 80% on the point, where early on, I mean, this was looking like we were going towards another blowout, but ENCE battled back. We're able to keep it close. See if we see some changes coming in this next point. It definitely looks like it.
Yeah, map a little bit less viable here for your dive stylers. The topography breaks up line of sight for your Ana especially. It'll be hard to keep Winston under the thumb and keep them held up. So this is maybe a little bit more of what we expected coming into this game, and this is where ENCE's ability to transition to this meta will be put to the test.
Well, see for the Defiant, right? Sugar-Free hovering the Genji would be a little bit of a different look, right? Genji Reaper, potentially, so...
Genji Reaper it is.
It'll be
Kai!
The Widow, okay, so this is a little bit of a wild card.
And you can LOS this Widow pretty effectively, but you do bunch up as a result.
You are also at, like, if the Widow's not getting picks, you are at such a severe damage disadvantage,
This
right?
is a big gamble for Kai, man. Can Mr. Kovacs himself find the opening? Gonna need to close the gap a little bit here, but can Toronto really lash out at the Widow? Yep, here comes Sugar-Free, knows that there's a long-range hit scan that needs to be accosted, and then he dies. Nice little deep flank here's gonna force Mastola to turn around, and a three-player stop from someone. ENCE are reeling.
I mean, that's great, though, for Toronto. They see the Widow. They know exactly what they need to do. They need to close the gap, right? Never Kai was in a position to, like, take a shot as somebody was coming on in. You have the switch there for just a brief second. I think he's going to go back to the Reaper, just seeing if he can pick somebody off there at the start. But, yeah, they played around that Widow tremendously.
So they came out of the gate with a Genji. Sugar-Free was ready for that. Now, Defiant playing in a bit of an annoying spot. Somehow ENCE need to try and close the gap here, and what a dive. That is beautiful. Look at Sugar-Free dash through. Took ENCE very, very low. So they're going to be set on a reset straight away.
I mean, someone drops from the high ground with the charge, and as soon as it connects, everybody else is there for the Defiant to clean it up. So, 2 fights. Not really much of anything going for ENCE. They haven't really been able to make much of anything happen.
Sky hasn't been able to heal enough. That orbital ray advantage is going to be huge for Toronto, and they let it go straight away. In goes someone. Sugar-Free now build up with the blade. Okay, nice segue. Here it comes. Sugar-Free dives in looking for the Reaper. Kai pops out of Wraithwalk and immediately is bisected. And Sugar-Free's found a second. ENCE are struggling to even get out of spawn.
And what do you do, right? I mean, if you start to use some of these ultimates to get out of spawn, I mean, you're such a rough situation, especially Toronto, right? Cage Fight Rally, Death Blossom, pretty sick combo.
Kellex tried to pop Rally to stop Sugar-Free and couldn't do a thing about it. Lenny still got 2 kills with the blade.
Dude, the Maga up here is filthy word.
It's annoying. Someone eventually opts to drop down now and has eyes only for Kai straight away. Stop from Mastola, but what a bash there out from Vega. Beautiful running shield stun, but someone's still going to fall down. A blade now coming out. Kevster's going for it. And he gets rid of Merit first. Nice cleanup for ENCE. Finally, they get to play Overwatch.
Yeah, but they give up 98% pretty much. So they finally make it out of spawn, right? It's a good rally from Vega. It's a nice bash off at the start.
Bash.
But yeah, I mean, the Cage Fight plus Blade was awesome there for ENCE. You also had that orbital ray advantage.
Merit on a hero that doesn't normally allow for the same degree of skill expression as he probably would like. He's still going to go in. After the stomp came through, Vega went very, very low, and another one on Merit. He was stunned up briefly. The Death Blossom from Kai gets them there. It's not pretty, but it's effective.
Now they're starting to get rolling, right? You take up that space. Now force Toronto to kind of, you know, walk into the meat grinder, so to speak, because you're able to make some big plays there with the Reaper. Just a little bit of an advantage point here for Kai is see how Toronto plays this. You're not really building up towards like any ultimates at this point, right? You're not really close.
Maybe DPS ults, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Cardiac Overdrive plus Death Blossom for Merit is still a legitimate threat. it's just interruptible, right? With like, you know, Kelex's shield bash, for example.
Yeah, and for this blade that Sugar Free's going to have, I mean, you're maybe working up towards like some of these as RuPaul actually builds Sorbal right rather quick. You're going to have the rally on the other side. So here it is. See if Kelex is able to stop it.
Hyper Ring thrown down, speed boost here for Toronto as they look to take the fight to the coast. Stop from someone doesn't affect anyone, but they're inside the orbital rain. Here comes the blade from Sugar Free. He drops down like an angel of death, and Kelex is ruined. Full disengage from ENCE, but they're down to 3 here, and their odds of being able to contest are low. Someone wants to make them 0. Tries to charge in, but a reposition now behind that dash is going to RuPaul fall into the blade of Kevster inside the orbital race. Guys are able to find one, and they can't get Pistola. Toronto unable to land the plane here and give ENCE an opening.
Yeah, and I think Toronto may have gotten caught a little bit off guard there because they go in, try and pick up some kills here towards the end of that fight. They don't really find anything. And on the exit, I don't know if they expected Pistola to have that cage fight there. Ends up popping the cage fight, blaze them on through, and they cut up, make quick work of the Defiant. And it's just like that, ENCE is back in this game. I mean, they're going to have probably one fight here to decide it. Sugar Free going to move away from Genji, going to go over to the far here, just trying to put down some poke down.
Kelex is on the Lucio here, probably just switching to get back to the point in time. Is stuck to it now. Here's a cage fight. Someone's hoping to have caught someone in there, and he got Pistola. Sky, it looks like he was also trapped. That's not ideal. Now you've lost your Juno. 99-99 is the scoreline here in Vega. Looking just to play safe, keep Merit topped up, but keep Sugar Free at the optimal distance. He dives in, closes the gap there. Damage on Kevster can't be overcome, and ENCE don't have the healing resources to keep him in the fight. Constant pressure here from this Pharah, and ENCE don't have an answer to it. Death Blossom for Kai is going to be redirected off to the side room. He dodges the stomp at least, but he has to come back with very little health to work with. He's overrun instantly, and Toronto Defiant, a scrappy affair, sees them take away Ilios.
2 fairly competitive points though. Back and forth, it wins there on Ilios, but Toronto in the end comes out on top. It feels like even some of that percentage though, right, is just, you're gonna end up giving up some percentage here to kind of build up some of your ultimates back, where it felt like, I think, more on the second point that like Toronto was in a little bit more danger. First point seems was pretty one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely. And it took ENCE a long time to get into the game, right? They were playing like Anna Brig, which is really a throwback to, you know, 2 metas ago almost now, as we saw so much Orisa in stage 4. But Toronto really well geared to play in that style, where there's a map that allows for it. There are a couple of those dive maps in the pool where you can go away from the Malga setup. Then we saw the Malga, but Sugar Free on the Genji, right? It's preferred, I think, for him over the Echo. I thought the replay was very solid. Not much to speak of there, really. It did come down to the flow of those ultimates like we discussed.
And even picking the Widow at the start, like, it's definitely a gamble, right? If you don't get those kills, you kind of see what happened. It's like 50% right away up for Toronto Defiant. So maybe you don't come out with that Widow and it's a little bit different. Maybe it plays out differently there on that second point on Ruins.
See Maimone on the stage there, listed as player coach here for ENCE, the closest thing they have to, I guess, a governing voice. But in previous metas, like, we've seen Maimone come into the game. We saw him play, God, I want to say Brig on one occasion, but Genji, Echo, those are the kind of picks we see.
So do you want him to sub himself in? That's what you want to see.
Well, it looks like ENCE have their bases covered. I think like Kai is able to play Ashe in this first game, right? Looks pretty darn solid. They go for the Widow gamble. It just doesn't pay off. It's pretty big risk, I think.
What did they even hit? Huh. I mean, you're thinking about like EMEA, it's like, okay, we can just play King's Row, right? I mean, is that what you kind of want to play potentially here? Like, the King's Row is a little bit scary because Toronto, they're so flexible. There's so many different things that you can play. It'll be really interesting what they decide to do on the side of ENCE.
You play King's Row, it does allow Kai to, potentially play the Ashe, something hits game related. Yeah. You are also playing into the Sugar Free Pharah, right? And that was a metagame that Toronto weren't at their strongest in, I think. But, I mean, if you think about the players in terms of how they match up against the heroes that might be on the map, like, you should be fine. Exactly. And this is an ENCE that looked a little bit shaky coming into this. And again, no coach. Going to be Maimone gassing the boys up after a map loss. I mean, that's totally fine. They tend to think that, I think, Kelex said, it'd be nice to have a coach to have like an extra pair of eyes, really, but we really feel good about how we've managed to
it's good to have it's good to have the neutral voice, right? In terms of like when the team.
Kai has have you ever heard Kai talk? It's a very neutral voice. That is extremely neutral.
So you see the stats there from the first map, pretty much all in favor, everything in favor of the Defiant. Not the biggest blowout we've seen today, but I know still pretty healthy in the Toronto Defiant direction. the coach is good to have that like just kind of neutral voice in the room, right? I know we were kind of discussing about how he plays certain situations. You have somebody who's watched a ton of VOD, knows the team really well, can kind of break up some of those fights. I think that's probably where they miss the coach the most.
Well, Caceres on the other side of the stage, of course, who's spent plenty of time as a coach in Overwatch. I reckon he'd love a matchup against Falcons. That crusty junk buck versus Caceres matchup. They were, of course, all were together on the San Francisco Shock for quite some time. So I'm sure he'd love that matchup here. And hey, great start for Toronto. This is probably what NA fans want to see from their #1 seed, right? It's a pretty clean opener against a really well-respected team in ENCE, who, again, knocked them out in Dallas, showing that, hey, this time they've been able to translate that domestic showing into an international event where, again, it's a full house, baby. The crowd is getting behind them, and we saw them crumble under that degree of pressure in the past.
You also feel a little bit bad for Toronto in the aspect of like, you know, you beat ENCE, you beat SSG, you beat all these teams, and it's like, well, if you don't beat like Crazy Raccoon or Falcon, like we don't care. And it's like, well, they're so like awesome against everybody else. They don't exactly get blown out by those teams, right? Those games are like pretty back and forth competitive, and it's just a lot of pressure. It's like, okay, like you know, anything they do outside of winning those 2 games is just like, oh, whatever. Like it's like there's not a lot of there's not a lot of better teams than like ENCE or teams like that. So ENCE actually takes us to Shambali. So this is kind of what we saw SSG do here against Nightmare. So now going to Shambali, a little bit of a curveball.
They're trying to force the Malgacom.
Yeah, yeah, you think so, right?
They're really trying to take a map where like there is no option to sort of go away from that. I do think like the Genji is still viable, right? I think both these teams are showing a preference to play it. You've got Kevster on one side, you've got Sugar Free on the other. Shambali will be the pick here for ENCE. We're #2 seed out of EMEA. With again, the role MVP of Kevster on the roster. Looking to live up to the award he just garnered himself. I'm looking to see ENCE can stay alive in this first to 2 series.
Yeah, do or die time here for ENCE. It is their map selection. We'll see you know, what side both teams are starting on. But like you mentioned, I think you probably end up seeing exactly what you're seeing now. Yeah, this Malga kind of style. This is what they want to force.
Sugar Free on the Echo here, so very much sticking to the script. Echo can do so much here with the rooftops. Just basically dive in, dump cooldowns, and then play back behind that cover.
You could have just stopped it. Echo can do so much here. It's like always, right? I mean,
we've just seen how powerful the duplicate is, right? And there are so many candidates for that. We've seen Reapers copied, extra Malgas for that extra shoulder charge stomp combo. It's pretty terrifying. We've seen an extra Brig in a pinch. Here we go out of the gates. Kai going to attempt a Widowmaker opening here.
We've also seen like a lot of Echo, right? When like lethality in the game kind of went down overall, it's still one of the heroes that can provide like instantaneous bursts, especially on targets that are below 50% HP, right?
With how strong tanks are right now, it feels so important.
Yeah.
All right, someone goes very low before going for the cardiac overdrive here, and RuPaul desperately trying to keep him healed up, but he just takes too much damage.
You end up getting 2 picks, so you're going to extend this a little bit here for the Defiant. Yeah, your tank steps out onto that payload, especially on the defensive side of things here. You're in a world of trouble as looks like now everybody will get finished off as ENCE will get the payload moving.
That was the fight they were looking for there. Kalex making sure he can hear properly. I respect it. Someone get the man a Q-tip. Let's see what we come back in here with Merit getting the 70% of his ult charge in that last fight.
Yeah, you actually end up building. The fight goes a little bit longer. You build up a lot of decent ultimate charge here for the Defiant, right?
Got a Stoller as well. Very close to that first cage fight. Sugar Free feels probably pretty uncomfortable trying to play through this building, as Kai definitely has him dead to rights in a matchup there. Merit's Wraith Walk. He's still going to try and stay into the fight. Here comes a late stomp, though. Merit was knocked down, but he has the Death Blossom now available. He got Kai as well. It's hard to see ENCE getting out of this one.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a rough position there for ENCE at the start, right? You know, we see kind of Kevster's X-Ray is actually kind of inside of that side room and gets hit with a stomp and has to exit straight away. That's not how you kind of want that Echo to be positioned there, right? You want to be able to utilize that Echo in the fight. As soon as Toronto sees like the Echo on the other side hightail it, they just go right around the corner. They know they're going to get at least 1 kill.
You can see that Kevster made a beeline for RuPaul trying to bring him down. A great peel back from Sugar Free to take the Echo 1v1. Now those ultimates are relevant. In fact, both teams have built up pretty similar banks of them. It's just someone without a cage fight. Kai, TP forward, very aggressive now as he tries to get into the back line. Kempster with a dupe here of the Reaper, going to work him from an off angle himself. Looking straight at Sugarfree, the Duke's Malware, and someone just explodes. Too much damage there from ENCE. Rally in play here for Kellex. A nice backstoke from Vega. Hit 3 once more as Kempster tries to go for a Duke. Death Blossom. It's Kai, though, that ends up falling. Kempster eats the focusing beam, and Merit finds some extra damage here. But Toronto are in shambles. Merit and Vega have to try and fight here against 3, and they're going to just hope to stall a bit.
Yeah, it's like, man, Merit's kind of going crazy in all these fights on the Reaper, but not strong enough there as ENCE comes out with a fight win. Toronto in position, though, to kind of challenge this, right? No support ults, but nobody on the other side has one either. But potentially with that cage fight and the Reaper coming off spawn.
And he touches. There'll be someone dropping in. Cage fight immediately popped him.
Oh,
He's so low, but Merit and Sugarfree get there. Someone trusts his team to back him up, and the DPS dive into the fray.
He took so much damage. Someone straight away. Even with that cardiac overdrive, I mean, he was extremely low. Staggering out that Stola here. He's used to that, plays a lot of Diva. So
1 minute.
yeah, that's someone just going in, getting the touch, dropping the cage fight, and
Dying.
praise the rest of his team comes out on top.
Make space, get traded. Hold M1 and M2 simultaneously for the boys. All right, let's run this back. Now down to 40 seconds here for ENCE. No key ultimates to leverage. Merit's going to have a Death Blossom. In we go. He wants to try and push forward here, and why wouldn't you? In we go. Nice little stop follow-up there, but Merit's not been able to find the damage to get a kill. Pistola's just built his cage fight up now, but they've already lost Kellex. Cage fight goes down. Kempster's able to focusing beam down Merit, and Vega is picked off by Vistola. Big Malga ultimate, but can they win the fight? Someone goes low. Great sticky bombs from Kempster above the fight, and Kai just hits Q. Sugarfree duping here a Reaper. Actually pretty close to ultimate, but gets knocked out of dupe it. Yep, your boys on the cart. Just a cool guy playing the objectives.
Yeah, Sugarfree fighting that 2-on-1. They're like, oh man, I can clutch this out as Kempster just back out, walks it all the way home. So still pretty good defense there from Toronto, right? Right down to the wire there on the first point. Now 220. Not a lot of time to push up through this high ground. It can be very difficult to break.
It's treacherous, especially now with the volatility of those Juno ultimates both being online. Here they come. Speaking of which, ENCE lets theirs go first. Rupal maybe a little bit too late to the punch with Kiz's Merit. Falls under the scrutiny of 4 separate ENCE players. Vega doesn't quite know where to put it himself, I think. Kellex is having to deal with him pretty comfortably.
He decides to put himself back into the spawn. As, that'll be a team kill there for ENCE. You end up kind of using the orbital ray, and huge for ENCE, right? It's like you actually have this rally because you can use this rally when the cage fight comes through. There's no Death Blossom on the other side, right? So not really that scared, and you can make up some of the time you potentially lost.
Kellex here doesn't want to overextend. Steps up, gets some information about the Defiant setup, and in we go again. Big cage fight, big catch as well. Sugarfree's trying to play from the fringes of it for now as they're running for Kellex. You'd hoping to keep them healthy enough, but Sugarfree found Kempster, picked him out of the bunch. Here's that free Death Blossom from Sugarfree. Good damage, good heal, pressure and Merit as the other Reaper cleans up for Stola.
At the final moments, the Defiant always seems to bounce back. Nice kill there. As going deep for Sky, that's going to force them just wait a little bit longer. And as we talked about in the last series, right, when we saw Shane about, like, it's really long to get back here towards the heart. You got to go like up and maybe around the side as, yeah, they won't kind of go in towards that front. They'll take this back staircase all the way up.
Yeah, unfortunately the ski lift was unoperational, so we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. 2 Death Blossoms here. Pistola's cage fight would love to catch someone, but Toronto are playing pretty cagey right now. Excuse the pun, they don't want to get caught out by that new Malga ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto's fine with this being drawn out, right? They want to end up building some ultimates, and if it becomes the final fight here, they're totally fine with that.
Orbital Ray here for Sky, just now developed. Vistola wants to come over the top. Big cage. Who's caught in that one? Rupal actually is in a bit of trouble. Orbital Ray's now going to cross over. Kai at the fringes of the fight with the Death Blossom wasn't able to find anything. Eventually, though, he gets Merit. A dupe with a Malga for Kempster. In he comes with the stop. Looking to try and find these squishies. Vega pops the rally now. Rupal healthy enough, but we're now in a post-Orbital Ray world as Kellex going to get brought down by the shoulder charge. And knocked out of dupe is Kempster. Knocked back there on Kempster as well. He can't really get into the fight at all. He found someone at least with a focusing beam, but there's more work to be done. Good sticky capture there from Sugarfree, but Vistola needs to be handled. And there it is. A dupe on the Malga. Sugarfree's going to be very hard to shift now.
Yes, the rally is huge from Vega. They keep someone alive long enough. I mean, the rally plus the cardiac overdrive used there in combination is almost impossible to break through that. And especially once you've already used your Death Blossom and some other ultimates, right? You've already used the cage fight in that situation. Kevster almost pulls back, right? They kill someone, they get him with the focusing beam, they give themselves an opportunity. But
Kevster eats a whip shot randomly, I think, from Vega there, just knocks him out of effective range. I think he's trying to focus him, beam someone down at the time, or at least land stickies. And then, of course, a late dupe of the Malga for Sugar Free meant Toronto Defiant had all the durability they would need. So only the one checkpoint here for ENCE. Much of this owing to how long it took for them to get that first checkpoint at all.
yeah, I mean, we'll see now. I think it's important that ENCE, just like how Toronto did, right? Windows that clock down, right? Try and get it. You don't want to be in the situation we just saw in the previous series, right? Where, now Nightmare's got 5 minutes going up towards that second point, right? I mean, then you're staring down the barrel of an L. You want to kind of draw this out as long as possible.
I mean, that is the situation here for ENCE. A competitive first map where they just took a little bit too long to get going. They end up giving up Ilios to Toronto. But now here their attack didn't quite have the lethality it needed to claim enough real estate on this map to feel comfortable coming back around on defense. Kevster there has mastered the art of blowing his hair out of his eyes. Can he get hit both sides? Got mad accuracy there. Never uses his hands for it.
You've never had to deal with that problem, huh?
Less and less, mate. That hairline is out of there.
we all can see it. We know it's less and less.
All right, Sugar Free attempts the Widow opener.
I am always ready to learn.
And away we go here. No attempt at a spawn camp ready for ENCE. They will emerge, though, from this corner and try and take a fight. Someone's ready for it, though. He wants to start it up himself. Sugar Free uncontested right now. Kellex actually going down to the torpedoes of all things as Kai gets where he needs to be. But all right, the trash shot damage claims the Reaper. I think Sugar Free's happy to go 1-for-1 there.
Yeah, any kills you can get here for ENCE, right? Building up towards some of the ultimates, clock, being taken off. This is actually pretty decent, right? You're actually, keeping your tank alive for a while here, and now you're going to have, the next two players actually Kevster fails with his life. So still, you got a decent amount of time off the clock there. You end up building up towards some heals.
Someone on your screen here gets a nice mutual knockdown with a player advantage, so Vistola couldn't stand up.
Kellex does get killed so fast that you're like 45 to 30 there for Rally, but how these fights are and how close quarter is, and you can just get so much value at the Inspire healing, you'll see that jump up pretty fast.
And the healing is approximately even between these two teams, despite ENCE getting bundled out in those fights pretty badly. Merritt always asking for more, always trying to push up here, but the Echo's a bit of an issue. He's got to respect it. Control the side room. Yeah, he's going to duck back in there and make sure Kai can't flank around. Someone's waiting for something here, maybe a cooldown. Here's a dupe here of Kevster, in he goes, stop comes out of Kellex, already blown to smithereens by Merritt's Death Blossom. He goes for a Wraith Walk now and emerges at what would have been the right time had Kevster not had a duped Death Blossom of his own. 2 kills for the Echo. Kevster's forced back at 3 HP. Sky might have done enough here. Vegas rally looks a little sad. As Vistola says, okay, I'll fight you 1v2.
A little sad is an understatement there. Sugar Free just kind of sends himself in. He's like, maybe I can get something there. But the rally did not really benefit there for the Defiant. ENCE gets a huge fight win. I mean, they have to get this, it feels like, below a minute.
So far, so good, though, for ENCE. They managed to survive that very volatile fight with 4 or 5 ultimates on the table. Now they're looking at a duplicate here from Sugar Free and a Death Blossom from Kai. Looking to get to the back lines, it's a dupe of the Reaper. Okay, immediately goes face to face with the Echo, watch out! Kevster's able to avoid him for the time being, and Sugar Free's knocked out of the dupe. Here comes Kai. Great Blossom, claimed Sugar Free, knocked him out of dupe as well, and the follow-up's great from Kevster's focusing beam. Kai, the only casualty here. I think ENCE, you're happy with this, and now 1 minute 24 to play.
And the confidence of Kevster, right, when he sees that dupe of the Reaper inside that close area, and even when Sugar Free jumps out, he's still willing to fight.
I will fight you, bro.
That's crazy. And he comes up with a kill there, huge, right? I know that's a Reaper on the flank coming on through.
Okay. Toronto Defiant in a similar position that we saw ENCE languishing in front of that first checkpoint.
ENCE in a good spot to potentially close this out, right? Double support ult, cage fight, dude.
I like what I see.
Couldn't ask for more.
Again, Merritt just tentative about this side room. Can't fully commit yet. The Death Blossom could be a game changer, but has to combine it with a cardiac overdrive, you feel? Vistola has a cage fight. Merritt does not want to get sucked into that. Here's a TP up to the high ground behind, and if we drop! Trapped briefly now inside the cage, interrupted midway through that ultimate was Merritt. It's a mess, but the cardiac overdrive here keeps ENCE standing. Kevster dupes and finds yet another cage fighter. There it is, ENCE have come up with the answer. An extra Malga goes a long way, apparently. Kevster on the Echo looks incredible.
An extra Malga plus a rally. Pretty solid combination to have there going against the Defiant. The Defiant should have, though, one more chance, right? Rally and dupe for themselves. That's everything dumped in there for ENCE. Maybe Kai is able to build up a Blossom, but nothing to combo with it.
He used number 2 Speed fighting to stay alive in this series now. It's Mira being tracked as he heads upstairs. ENCE know exactly where this Reaper is, but can they stop him? That's the difference. In we dive. Nice little stun there. Vega hit a double shield bash. Kai and Kellex both falling down, and Toronto Defiant explode out of nowhere to keep the map going.
Yes, ENCE could not really disengage there, but ENCE did a tremendous job sending it into OT. Gives himself an opportunity to still fight back and take the map. I mean, you see the box of victory there. Feels like ENCE need to get cleanly out of the spawn and push Toronto back, right? Don't let them get a ton of free payload progress.
Yeah, still have to answer the same question that ENCE were required to, so that they can get through this windy phase of the map. That's why Sugarfree's trying to push the line of scrimmage up as far as possible. Has a cheeky little off angle, but needs to be involved in this fight. Kai's gotten behind him here. Mira's the first to fall now, and oh dear, yep, I think Toronto want to pull the plug instantly, but they're not going to be allowed to escape. Someone cannot get away from the Death Blossom here, and ENCE continuing to build on that momentum.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario there for ENCE, right? You get Merit early, who's been so good on the Reaper throughout this series thus far. Look at this, I mean, you push up right to the spawn. Just burn clock. Let that payload move backwards, get as much time off that clock as possible. Force Toronto to invest coming out of the spawn here rather than those fights a little bit further into the map. I love this decision from ENCE.
Toronto are getting battered, just trying to get out of spawn in general. Those health bars looking perilously low as they've got to make a regroup here. Try that once more. A minute 17 now, about 25 seconds got bought by ENCE that spawn camp. Okay, they found Kai, nice. Stun him up pretty instantly, brought him down. Kellex does have that rally, but is forced to back up. They really want to save these ultimates. The Death Blossom, they might not give them much choice. It was Kevster with a dupe. Nice Death Blossom to get rid of Vega. The numbers still favor Toronto if Sugarfree can be kept alive as Kevster will burn down.
The solo will fall, but still, getting into their spawn, I mean, what, 232, and Toronto ends up getting the payload over the first point, right, for moving into the second part of the map. Now you have it below a minute. Fantastic job for ENCE. Didn't really cost them anything.
All right.
Just pushes up right up.
Said it a bunch of times today, but the macro play in this next fight must be perfect for ENCE. It is going to be an absolute mess. A cluster storm of ultimates. And in we go. Sugarfree immediately sees an option to go for that orbital. Rather, focusing beam, excuse me. A dupe with the Reaper, though, getting in there. Orbital ray does come out from RuPaul. Sky had one of his own, but they've lost Kai and Kellex, respectively. The cage is down, and Vistola's out of position now. The cart needs to be moved up. Vistola tries to stall, tries to keep it going, but the Dupe Reaper has a Death Blossom that doesn't quite connect. Sugarfree, though, now will be in Echo form and will be able to stagger Vistola down. That could be devastating. The last remaining seconds of regulation now, and ENCE without their Malga to try and contest. They've got to touch. Kellex gets there, but it's going to be whipped shot straight away, and now Kai needs to try. Try as he might. Toronto will close the series. NA's #1 seed delivers on the promise to do a little bit better than we saw in Dallas.
Yeah, very close game between these two. Toronto, though, clutches up in the end, and they lose Vistola there as, he's trying to escape. There's nothing he can really do. The focusing beam and the Reaper just kind of burning him down. But as soon as they lose him, you kind of see the writing on the wall there for ENCE.
Man, these first and twos are absolutely cutthroat. So volatile. And ENCE, there's definitely quite a number of points where they had the map. Definitely feel like they could have taken it away there, but it's a slip right at the end in front of that first checkpoint. They let Toronto get through with no real ultimates, by the way. And then that last fight, they don't have any DPS ultimates. I don't think they have a rally in that fight. And it ends up being Toronto who find a way to derive some momentum out of these very scrappy fights, come out with a win.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive win there for Toronto going up against ENCE. Everybody had high hopes for them coming into this event. And Toronto, look, we saw them play two different styles of play. They looked pretty good on both. ENCE, I think, put up a really good fight. It's a shame you're going to have all three teams from EMEA playing tonight in the losers.
That means, again, we get an EMEA matchup. We're going to be saying goodbye to them either way. That is absolutely brutal. And I having a bit of a better day so far, but much can change over the course of a tournament of this nature. Pretty incredible stuff here for the Toronto Defiant. Let's head over to Danny for the post-match interview.
Thank you guys so much. I'm here joined by the NA MVP, Sugarfree, coming out from a great win. Everybody give it up for a NA MVP, Sugarfree. One more time. I believe you guys already announced it before the match, but I don't think you guys did an interview, so I do want to ask you about winning, becoming the NA MVP. So what does that mean to you, becoming North America's most valuable player?
I mean, so like it's NA, so it doesn't matter that much. I would rather it be World MVP, but you know, I'll still take it right now.
Hey, one step at a time. You're NA MVP. Next up is going to be World MVP. Big congratulations. Another, I guess, interesting question that I have for you is because your next match is going to be a big one. You guys are going to go up against Crazy Raccoon, and I believe in EWC, you guys did win a map against them. I feel like it is going to be an exciting match. Sugar Free, how confident are you that this time around you guys could get the revenge, get the win against Crazy Raccoon?
Honestly, I think with this meta, I think literally any team can win, so I'm pretty confident that the match will be closer than EWC. I think we can win this time.
All right, everybody give it up for Sugar Free one more time. Thank you guys so much. Des, take it away.
Thank you so much, Danny. Congratulations to Sugar Free, not only for that dub, but also, of course, as he just received the season MVP in the NA region. As Danny said, one step at a time. World MVP is next, obviously. For now, though, let's discuss the performance we've seen from him in this very match. Not only is he our regional MVP, he's also our match MVP. Standout performance, of course, whatever he plays.
You know, I think the Echo is a really crucial hero in this meta. You have some major decision points. You know, when you do pop that copy, do you go for the Mauga? Do you go for the Reaper? And how do you play it out from there? I think Echo really probably has the most pop-off potential of any character in the meta. Reaper is I think, a little bit more stable, where Echo has that explosiveness, the ability to make an individual difference. So having somebody like Sugar Free in the lineup, huge boon for Toronto. And Toronto showing that they look great on this meta. They had great reads, great map movements together as a unit. And with this Winston comp waiting in the wings, I think they really do have more looks than if you do want to force an Ilios or a Gibraltar or something of that nature. Toronto's going to be one of the strongest teams on those pocket map picks. So especially as we get into the best of fives deeper in the tournament, I think Toronto can be a real threat to any team in this tournament.
I think it's so telling, Zoe, that they picked Ilios going into this one, because typically, you know, the North American, the European teams, they like going to, like, you know, the Lijiang Towers of the world, for example. Of course, Lijiang Tower not in the map pool this time around, but picking Ilios like the Koreans do, that's such a tell of like what they prefer to do. They like having these small duels, poking around, finding ways to get map position, you know, finding an advantage in the individual duels, and then win with that small advantage, right? And when you have players like Sugar Free, you can do that because he gets the advantage in the Echo duel, the Tracer duel, gives them a little bit of extra space. They can rotate with that, find nice angles, and then capitalize on that, right? So Sugar Free has been a standout player all year, and, you know, very much deserves to get the North American MVP award. I think a lot of people in the community, you know, obviously backed him for the award because he's been so tremendously impactful. You know, most notoriously when he swaps over to the Tracer, the fact that he can win so many of those duels and he can peel back and capitalize on the enemy's mistakes, but he can also be proactive, hit pulse bombs, and try to make plays for his team. Such a crucial player to have in your team when you're trying to win the World Finals.
I mean, also, just on a personal note, if you followed his career, he had to wait so very long to get into OWL, for OWL to then end right after just 1 year. And now a fresh start in OWCS. He has to prove himself all over again. And now he's coming out on top. Toronto Defiant, obviously an absolute force to be reckoned with. They have been so very dominant all season long. And they're showing us today why that is. Actually, immaculate team play from their roster. However, ENCE, they're no slouches, right? Unfortunately, they found their footing in this series at just a little bit too late. They made it close towards the end there on map 1, and then map 2. Let's be real, both attacks not inspiring.
I mean, it's a tough meta, though, to find any kind of purchase, right? One mistake from one player, it's really all about that team play, all about the ultimate cycle. So even when you win a fight, if you just expended like one ultimate too many, that could really doom your defense for the next couple of engagements. So it's all down to these small decision-making moments. You know, we talk about the chaos of these fights. These players have to find the way through these engagements, you know, not overspending ultimates, right? Finding the perfect timing to pop their skills with their teammates. So it's a lot on the communication, the trust, the cooperation among teammates, more than it is about one individual star taking over. So definitely a different test for these teams than we often see in the game, but still a meta where I liked it. A lot of teams have said this, anybody can win. It's not going to be about winning the Widowmaker duel for the most part. It's going to be on team play and coordination.
It's such a cutthroat series in that it's first to two, but it's also a cutthroat meta in that if you overspend ultimates, the opponents is going to get an advantage, of course. They have an opportunity to come back, or you overinvest in your ultimates. And so far, we've seen ENCE, we've seen SSG. When they overinvest on the ultimates, the enemy team is going to capitalize on that. But at the same time, if you don't overinvest, you know, if you hold on to your ultimate and maybe you die, you lose a fight, that could equally be as pivotal to your downfall, right? So it's a game of risk, really. You know, are you going to spend your ultimate or going to be patient and hold it back? And either way, you risk, you know, being disappointed.
Yeah, but it looks like both NA teams making it through that upper bracket alongside our Korean teams. Jake, I'm gonna give you a minute to gloat. NA on top, question mark?
Brutal.
Right now, it looks that way, right? With both of our EU teams, you know, going down, or two of our EU teams going down 2-0. The third seed was the one who was able to actually win a map against Falcons, but they still dropped to the lower bracket. So, I mean, after today, maybe there'll be two EMEA teams left, but in the lower bracket, it's a tough place to be considering the opponents that are going to be sent down there next. I mean, this is a really tough tournament. It sucks to go down quick to these, you know, best of two or first of two series. It's a rough spot to be, but hey, now you got to fight back. You got to make the adjustments, find the adaptation that gets you through that lower bracket series and keeps you alive here in Stockholm.
Yeah, this lower bracket is gonna be insane. And we don't have to wait long for it to happen because we will be covering both elimination matches today already. But first things first, we're heading into a quick break, and when we come back, Matt will be sitting down to talk about Hazard with the Overwatch devs, and the fabled Jake and Johnny show match will unfold as well. So we're gonna see you in a bit. Don't go anywhere.